Hey, this is Mark Henry, author of Dancing with Energy, Healing, Magic, and Mysticism. I've been getting a lot of messages from my subscribers who, uh, ask about Knight, my dog, because he somehow video bombs quite a few of my videos. And I'll just kind of give you an update. Knight had a hard day yesterday. Well, first of all, he's 11 years old, so he's rather old, but sometimes he has so much energy. Even the vet said that he acts like, has the physiology of a dog that has like 5 or 6 years old. So yesterday he was running all of a sudden, acting up and spinning around and doing all this other type of stuff, and he tweaked his neck. This is a kind of a condition that he's had. He's actually been to the vet 2 other times, but he has a compressed disc in his neck. So he was yelping and hollering and stuff, so I took him to the vet. And he is now on steroids and muscle relaxers. And he has to be crated for 4 weeks, so he's not going to be happy about that. He's not going to be able to run around and stuff like he used to. So keep Knight in your thoughts and in your awareness. Okay, so today we're going to be talking a little bit about nature spirits. Now, when I'm talking about nature spirits, I am talking about those spirits who, just like the definition, are residing in nature. Now, I'm not talking about elementals. I'm not talking about the spirits that are the embodiment of the elements. I'm not talking about salamanders, undines, sylphs, and gnomes. I consider that to be a little bit separate, so I'll be talking a little bit more about fairies, elves, and pixies, things like that. And I'm going to talk to you about them in broad terms with maybe some specifics. So the first thing to remember is that I find that these nature spirits are a little bit distrustful of humans. They will avoid us if they can. So we actually have to earn their trust. So if you find that you're able to detect them and contact them and maybe reap the benefits of a relationship of some kind, consider yourself lucky, because many find that it's very much on their terms. I know that when I have contacted them and have had experiences dealing with other types of entities, I find that angels have this almost like this obligation to serve, so they come. Demons, they will come to you, for their own reasons, but they usually come, especially if they have an affinity for you. Now, nature spirits, I find that they can be curious. They'll be there. But you almost like you have to be a certain type of person in order to connect with them, and then they will kind of open up to you. And you can imagine why that might be if you look at the way that humans treat nature, deforestation, and I don't want to get into all the environmental stuff, but that is considered a sin according to nature spirits. So, we may be reaping some of that distance from those types of spirits. Now, they also kind of stick to their own business. I mean, a lot of these nature spirits are there to cause nature to flourish, flowers, trees, and that sort of thing. They also have the reputation for being mischievous. Sometimes people refer to themselves as being fairy charmed. If you look at the legends and mythology, there are people who have gone out into the woods. They have somehow become intoxicated in this particular state, and sometimes they see things, and reputation of them losing their mind and getting lost. So there is this sort of reputation for this type of spirit activity. Now, they're also considered very, very kind of stimulating. When you come in contact with them, you might have this surge of energy or this particular type of feeling that just comes out of nowhere, and that's kind of an indication that you're connecting with them. Now, if we talk about something specific like pixies, pixies are known to confuse travelers, make them miss their stops, or maybe go out on a trek and, you know, get lost and their compass goes haywire. Uh, this is again part of their mischievous nature, misinterpreting directions. But they have strong energy, and many people come out of this experience being kind of dazed and confused. If, let's say, that you want to try to develop a relationship with, one more thing also about nature spirits, is that especially with fairies, they can create feelings of fascination, of love, infatuation. It's this type of energy, these types of states, that they can sometimes thrust upon humans. So that is why that you have to be careful and check in with yourself and be aware of what you're experiencing and you're feeling if you believe that you're coming in contact with these spirits. And you know, it may be kind of a signal that you may be under the influence of these beings. But let's say that you want to try to connect with them. The people that do tend to do that are people that really love the outdoors, spend time outdoors, that love nature, that they respect nature and the environment. And in those places, also heavily wooded places, like I have a neighborhood that it is technically a subdivision, but there are a lot of woods and ponds and things like that around me, so I'm actually able to connect with them, and I'll talk to you a little bit about my experience doing that. But if they open up to you, they may give you a gift. They can actually present a blessing to you. They can give you a string of good luck. They can help you. The other types of gifts could be things like you might walk around and find a four-leaf clover, something, again, a nature gift. Spiritualists have, when they try to connect with the nature spirits, have sometimes all of a sudden found an object out of nowhere that wasn't there before, like a coin, a silver shiny coin. If you're dealing with other spirits, you may come across just the scent of a flower, a sweet-smelling flower, when there are no flowers around. And that would be maybe this nature spirit that is governing the flowers. Or sometimes they hang out in trees, you know, kind of looking around and trying to promote the growth of trees. A lot of these, you know, the living type of things that are in forests and whatnot, they are supported by these spirits. Now, one, they have certain, I guess, kind of rules. One is that you don't want to harm the environment. That would really make them mad. Don't, you know, dump stuff in your pond. Don't dump wastes, you know, in the forest by your house. Just don't do any of that stuff, because they consider that rude. And I don't have any personal experience, because I try to keep the spirits in and around my environment very happy. But I've heard stories about them putting these little curses and these little string of bad luck. You don't want that. You know, you want to keep everybody happy. You want to develop relationships and friendships with all the spirit beings around you, at least from my perspective. Okay, so about 3 years ago, I actually wanted to connect with these nature spirits. So I went back by my pond, you know, very close to the woods, and I kind of opened myself up, did deep breathing, did a meditation. Because up to that point, I honestly didn't try, you know, the fairies, pixies, and those types of spirits they weren't high on my priority list. I wanted to work with other things first. And finally I said, well, you know, I'm in the country. It makes sense that, you know, I want to connect with the spirits of the land. And by the way, there are even spirits not only of forests but in urban areas too. That's a different subject. Images to those particular areas and locations. However, back to the story. So I sat there and meditated for a while, and I wasn't getting anything. And all of a sudden, I felt something. It was much different than the type of spirit contact that I'm used to. It was very clear, and yet it came to me differently. I got the feeling through this communication it was a nature spirit that I guess you would consider to be the, if there was a hierarchy, kind of a king, you know, a representative coming out and wanting to talk. And basically what I wanted was just to kind of understand my environment and perhaps even get their protection if possible. There are, where I live in Louisiana, I'm sure some people in other parts of the country can identify with this, odd weather patterns and getting more wind and rain and floods and hurricanes and stuff like that. So I wanted to align with them to see if I can get them also develop a friendship to kind of support, you know, my property, and I would be, you know, happy to give them offerings and that sort of thing. Well, we kind of connected with this particular spirit, and I also got the perception that they aren't as easy to deal with as far as you know, offerings. It's almost like I said, you have to earn their trust. So over time, I had to kind of do that. It's kind of like we can take humans or leave them type of thing, and I can't really blame them. Like I said, based on what we do to the planet. Okay, so experience 2. This was in the 90s. I was undergoing or participating in a witchcraft ritual in my town. Where I was, it was much more, you know, a little more woodsy than where I am now. You know, this was back in time, like I said, in the 90s. And this was before the actual ritual. And my friend Randy was saying, hey, you know, I've been doing a lot of rituals around here trying to connect with the fairies. And at that time, I was like, yeah, sure, you know, you're connecting with the fairies. You know, I didn't have any experience, so I kind of have heard that, and I thought that it was like this really New Age type of thing that didn't have any validity. It was almost like, you know, Tinkerbell and the Tooth Fairy and stuff like that. Again, Tooth Fairy, you know, we have these association with childhood type of things and wishes and Santa Claus type of stuff. So I said, yeah, okay, you know, just to be nice. And then all of a sudden, you know, 5 minutes later, his dog, his golden retriever, shot out in the yard like his ass was on fire. And Randy said, now you see, watch what happens. So this dog was running really fast, and like if something was chasing him, but there was nothing chasing them. And I thought that, okay, maybe there was an insect or a bee or something, but it, you know, I had to think, and, you know, this was autumn, you know, a lot of that stuff, you know, was cool, pretty cool. There wasn't any of that stuff around. The dog spun around and started barking at something like in the air. And then he went, yipe, and then took off like this spirit or something was screwing with them, you know, and like, again, the mischievous nature of these nature spirits. So he did this for like 3 or 4 minutes until, you know, he took him inside. So it was just kind of strange. So in any case, that is my stories and information on the nature spirits. So be good to them. All right. And again, please subscribe and like. I'm also on Patreon. Check out some of the things in the description at the bottom. And I will talk to you later.